Hello everyone, welcome and thank you for joining our session for In the Know, Tips and Tricks for Evolve 365. We wanted to start this weekly series to give you some simple and easy tips that you can go back to your desk and quickly implement. We know your time is valuable, so we're always striving to keep sessions to no more than 30 minutes, sometimes even less. We also push out the topics monthly, so you just have to sign up once for the monthly series instead of 4 or 5 times. If you ever miss a session, you can always find the recordings on the Planet Technologies YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/planettechnologies. If you ever have any questions about our session or anything else for Evolve, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter. So a little about me, I'm your host, Tanya Kaiser. I'm a longtime Microsoft geek and SharePoint nerd, and one of the things that I get really excited about is helping people learn new skills, especially when it comes to the Microsoft Productivity Suite. And again, always feel free to reach out to me. You can always visit our website as well at go-planet.com. So a little bit about Planet Technologies. Planet has been providing expert support in the Microsoft world for over 18 years. We offer the full services for the entire Microsoft Cloud and Productivity Suite, including advisory, deployment, and training services, mobile application development and solutions, and strategic business consulting, including technology, compliance, and security guidance. So we're going to go ahead and kick things off. PowerPoint is a staple in the business world when it comes to presentations, so much so that the phrase death by PowerPoint is a common term that's heard. But today we're going to look at some of the advanced features in PowerPoint so you can see exactly what you can do with that program. So again, we all know PowerPoint. It's used in every industry and business, and it's known for its wide feature set. It really is the presentation powerhouse. There are a lot of other apps out there that are popular. Some of them include Prezi, even Microsoft's own Sway app, but PowerPoint really does remain the staple. These other apps have some limitations, like Sway and Prezi. They can be browser-based, or you can have some limitations outside of the actual presentation. The ability to save to PDF is important. That's not always available with those presentation apps that rely a lot on graphics and animation like Sway and Prezi. And again, PowerPoint has that full feature set behind it. You can include photos, videos, charts and graphs. You can have animations in it. You can even embed whole files within the PowerPoint itself. Of course, the export option is a really, really big need within the business world. You can save it as a PDF, movie, or even to disk if you have that need. And most of all, PowerPoint is available offline and also available for Mac and Windows. Sway is a great app. I've done a few sessions on that, but again, it's completely browser-based and not usable offline. So that's one of the other great things. And of course, PowerPoint integrates with all the other Microsoft products such as Skype and Excel. So the first thing that we're going to look at for PowerPoint is the Slide Master. Now this Slide Master, if you've never used it before, is actually what holds a template to your presentation deck. And this is where the real power comes in from PowerPoint. The Slide Masters control the default look and feel for your presentation. So if you ever find yourself going through a presentation deck and you're changing the font, and you're changing the indents, and you're making these changes on every single slide, you may want to stop for a minute and go to the Slide Master and make the changes there, so that way you don't have to make the changes on every single slide. Because once you've updated the master slide, you simply reset a slide to pull in those changes. Slide Masters can contain more than one theme, so if you're using the built-in themes within PowerPoint and you really, really like several different ones, you can create a whole PowerPoint template with multiple themes throughout. And again, Slide Masters are just a great way to set up a standard or template presentation, and that's something that a lot of businesses and organizations like. They want all of their presentations to have the same look and feel. It's very cohesive. It's very brand-centric. That's something that we really want to make sure we focus on. So I'm going to go right into it, and I'm going to switch over to a PowerPoint and just show you really where you can see where the Slide Master is. So I actually have one of our Planet Technologies PowerPoints up, and this is a template. Like I said, a lot of organizations work with a template. They want their look and feel to be consistent when people are speaking to the public, and even internally you want to have that same consistent look and feel. It just adds a layer of polish to your work and your business. So we've got our regular home ribbon, but when we want to work with the Slide Master, we actually have to go over to the View tab. And you'll notice that in the second section here for Master Views, we've got a button for Slide Master, Handout Master, and even Notes Master. Today we're going to focus on the Slide Master, but Handout Master and Notes Master work very similar. They're going to make the default what you want it to see. So when I go into my Slide Master view, you can see I have another pop-up tab, very similar when you're working with the Office suite. If you're in Word and you're working on a table, you get the table pop-up. If you insert an image, you get the picture ribbon pop-up. In this case, we have the Slide Master. So you can see if I scroll to the top here, I've got one slide that controls all the ones beneath it. So if I wanted to come in, now this is our corporate template, but if I wanted to come in and create my own version of it and ignore our branding guidelines and just say, I'm going to make everything red and green, I would come in and update this master slide. I can, of course, change any of the settings in here, and this is going to carry down to all of the other styles beneath this top slide. So again, this is just for demonstration purposes. Unless you are a Christmas business, I wouldn't recommend, colors like red and green. You want to stay within the same color palette. And that's why, as I talked about last time, the design and themes within the Microsoft Office suite are really important. They've done a lot of that design work for you ahead of time. But maybe I decide that I want, all of my slides to have bullet points. I'm making these changes on the slide master so that I don't have to go back and make them anywhere else. I can even control things such as the indent. Maybe I want all of these to be indented. These are all different font sizes, which is something that PowerPoint defaults to. But maybe I want them to all be uniform because we have branding guidelines and we really don't want people having different size fonts. And you can really fine-tune these controls. I'm changing the font size. In this case, I'm coming in here and changing the spacing on the lines themselves. So again, a high level of control at that slide master, made some really quick changes. Let me just make sure these are all the same consistent color. We'll make this a dark blue. They're all the same consistent color. They're all the same size. My bullet points aren't the same, but I can always come in and reformat those. And sometimes you may have to remove them and then re-add them. And if we come down to one of our other slides, so I did not touch these slides that are hanging beneath this master slide. And you can see it already adjusted all the styles. So this is one way that you make a very quick change to the master slide. And you can see through these other templates, it's already started to change my presentation. All of my text is now at the color and indents that I said. I'm not going to have to go in and change that every time. Now this is the one master slide that gives you the setting for all of your text. These other slides are specific layout slides. So when you're working with a template, you know that you often have a blank slide, 2 columns, a place for a picture. So these are the different layout ones that you can come through and then edit those as well. So that's a really quick look at the slide master. I'm going to go back to my slide master tab, close that. And now if I had a slide in here that I wanted to reset with those updates, I'm just going to scroll down and find a slide with some text on it. You can see this is one that has a column heading and a text. And all I have to do is select this reset button right here. And just by using that one button, it now modified that text with the changes on the master slide. So you can imagine if you have a PowerPoint that is quite lengthy and you went in and made those changes, you're coming in on every single slide and changing this to green text and changing the font and the color on every slide. Go into the master slide, do it once, and then come in and just use that reset button, and it's a much easier fix. So you can see I would just go through these with a template and just click reset. Now, you'll also notice that some of these slides have different layouts. Again, I just changed the one slide on that, but I can always come in here and make this a different slide and then still use that reset button. So if I had gone through the full slide master templates and changed each of those, it would be very much the same. Come in here, select the new layout, and click reset. So again, really, really useful tool, the slide master. We're going to go back to it, and I'm going to show you how you would add a second theme in, but I'm actually going to switch over to a blank PowerPoint and do that now. So in this case, we've got a completely blank PowerPoint. I'm going to insert a brand new slide, and I'm just going to insert a blank one. And if we're working with our built-in design themes, let's say I want to include this one theme in here, but maybe I want to include that second theme. So if I go back to my slide master view, you can see that here's my design theme that I inserted. You can see picking up the last edit that I made. So for this one, since it's very, very blue for demo purposes only, that's not going to work. So I can come in here and change the color. Maybe we want to use this as a blue and a charcoal gray. But maybe there is a second part of our presentation that we also want to use a different design on. This is another great use of the slide master because you can insert more than one theme. So I'm going to come to my insert menu. You can see here under new slide, we've got the common entry here. But there is an insert menu, and I'm just going to look for it really, really quickly. You should be able to insert a brand new design theme, and I may have to go back and to my regular view to find that menu. Oh, there's the theme button. And you can see that, again, we have multiple themes here. I just want to come in and I'm going to go ahead and select a different one to add. Very, very easy to do from within the Slide Master template. You just can switch back and forth. If we go back to that blue one that I had when we first started, you can see that there's another option here to insert a different layout. Again, you can pull in multiple views within the Slide Master, and that's what makes it really, really powerful. So again, we would always go back to our slides and then reset them. The other thing that is an area that's used is down here in the Slide Master, you can see that I've got several headers and footers. So if you want a page number on every page, you can come into the Slide Master, and that's where you're going to edit that information instead of manually adding it to each slide. So in this case, we've already got this page number already included here. We can come in and make sure that shows up on every single slide. So right off the back, you can see how it's really powerful to add in the Slide Master views. So I'm going to close out of this, and we're going to go to our next slide. So the other area beyond the Slide Master, this is almost verging on a completely different use of PowerPoint, is that it can be a really powerful graphics editor if you don't have other software. So it's never going to be fully fleshed out or as powerful as Adobe Photoshop or any of the Adobe Creative Suite programs, but you do have some built-in image editing tools directly within PowerPoint. You can also create your own graphics within PowerPoint. This works really well for infographics or a graphic that you need to put on an intranet site or even another Word document that has background, graphics, and text. You can do a lot of these same things within Word document, and you can also do it within Microsoft Publisher, but since so many people are already familiar with PowerPoint, it's sometimes easier to build those layers within PowerPoint because you don't have some of the restrictions around text wrapping that you do in Word. You don't have the learning curve that some people may have with Publisher. You can also do some simple tasks such as remove backgrounds and merge shapes. Again, it's never going to be as fully fleshed out and complex as the Adobe Creative Suite, but for your basic graphics, PowerPoint works very well for it. The other good thing is if you do have SharePoint sites, either they're on-premise or online, you can create custom tiles for your SharePoint site. So if you want to mimic that Office 365 look and feel with the square tiles, PowerPoint is a great way to create those tiles. And then probably what I like the best is you can always group these layers and then save them as an image outside of PowerPoint so they can be inserted into any other application or even posted online for social graphics. So again, I'm going to go straight into a blank PowerPoint. I'm going to show you how I would quickly build some of those blank graphics. I'm just going to close this out. I'm actually going to insert a completely blank slide. And since this is a brand new PowerPoint, I'm actually going to go over to Design, and I'm going to just open a new one so you can have a clean slate to work with. So again, here's a very, very blank slide. I don't want any boxes on it, so I'm going to make that blank. And what I can do to start is just maybe insert some pictures. So this is something that I commonly do. And we'll insert some of our planet ones just to get us going. So this is actually, if I'm going to create some social media graphics, maybe for our tips and tricks series, I do have a full Adobe Creative Suite, but sometimes all I need to do is a really, really quick image, and I'll just come straight to PowerPoint because it doesn't have as long as of a load time, and I know what I need to do is very, very short and sweet. So if I wanted to create a social media graphic, I can come in with my image, and again, we've got our ribbon pop up for a picture. I usually recommend that people use pictures over clip art that is cartoon. It gives it a little bit cleaner, polished look, but you can see that I can crop to shape. So if I want to come in here and make this a circle, I can do that, and I can always adjust and resize that as I need. So if I wanted to make this one maybe a little bit larger, again, I can control the size over here and move it around. And maybe I want to crop this one to a square. And I can come in and control the size as well. So I can lock the aspect, not lock it. But the great thing about PowerPoint is that I can then come in here and then add text as a layer. So I'm going to reset this one and show you how we do that. And we'll just work with this one right now. Oops, let me go back to PowerPoint. Sorry about that. So again, if we're working with just a really, really quick and simple graphic here, maybe I want to put some text on top of this, and we'll just come over to our Insert tab and insert a quick text box. And later on, we're going to combine these. So really simple text. Again, you can come in, you can change the size of the text, not at all difficult to do. And then we can move these layers around on our screen. So I'm going to jump back really quickly because I've lost my mouse control, and there it pops up. So I can layer these over. Now, again, we want to make sure that we have a really nice, clean graphic. So here's one thing that's really easy to do. Choose a shape, and I just have a text box. We fill that shape. We go down, and if we do more fill colors, you then get this transparency option here, and I can increase the transparency of my image. And once I click OK, you'll see that. So we have a lot of control for these graphics here just from within PowerPoint. And again, you can do this within Word. You can also do it within Microsoft Publisher if you have that as well. But a lot of people are really familiar with PowerPoint. So this is maybe just an easier way for them to take care of this. So you can see I can just keep increasing this font, I can center it, and I can do a lot of work. This is just for demo purposes. I would spend a little bit more time and maybe make this a little less opaque. And I can just continue to work on this graphic until I have it exactly the way I want. I can come in here and add a drop shadow. You can see, and then the great thing about this is I can select these, right-click, and group them together. And then here's the really powerful part. I can come in here and I can save this as a picture. So I can just put this on my desktop, and then it's available to me to post it to social media because now I have the actual image file. I can insert it into another application, an email, and in some cases, if I'm inserting this into an email, I can also right-click and add a hyperlink to that as well. So if I posted this on an intranet site, I can come into PowerPoint, create a quick graphic with some of the images that we may be using in our branding template that we've decided as an organization to have. And then you have that seamless look from your presentation to your social media graphics, to your flyers, to your emails, but you're all doing that graphic work with PowerPoint. So the other thing that I did want to show, I'm going to insert a different picture here, is how you can remove a background. So this first part that I did, we were just creating a graphic image. I just put on a background image. I created a text box. I changed the transparency. I added in some text. I could do more with this. But let me show you some of the specific photo editing tools. So I'm going to come in and delete that. I'm just going to make this a little larger. So maybe this is one of our graphics, but I really want to be able to use different versions of it, and we don't have another version. On our picture menu, I can come in and remove the background, and then it's going to ask me to mark the areas that I want to keep. So by default, I pick the one in the center, but I can come in here and just say mark and then select which ones I still want to keep. Now, this is not going to be as fine-tuned and as clean as you would have with a Creative Suite program like on Adobe Illustrator or InDesign. But you can see I'm just touching into those areas, and it's pretty seamless. And now if this is all I wanted to keep, I just come in here and I say keep changes. You can see in my tile I've got a slight preview, and then now I've got a different version of this, and I can come back in here to my picture menu and I can choose a fill in the background color. So again, maybe I wanted to have something different in here. We can move this around, and now we've got that background removed. If I go over to design, I can choose a fill for my background. We had a blue background. I'm going to come in and just choose a green background. Because we removed that background from the image, we now essentially have a PNG file with a transparent background. So again, you can tell that here, if I zoom in, it's not going to have nice, clean, crisp edges like I would get with Creative Suite. But if you have a fairly simple graphic and all you want is a different little look to it, this is an option that you can work with. So I'm going to go back to my presentation. I think I skipped up a little bit. So the one thing that we want to avoid is death by PowerPoint. I talked about this at the beginning. This is so common because PowerPoint is seen everywhere that it's almost a running joke that people have death by PowerPoint the same way that we, live and die by our calendar and our emails. PowerPoint is seen and used a lot, so it's really easy for people to get caught up in just working on a presentation and forgetting to make it easy to consume for your users or your audience that are actually viewing your PowerPoint. So these are just some tips to give people. my top suggestion is to really limit the text on your slide. So in this tips and tricks series, this slide has actually more text than I'm used to. I like to have it no more than 5 bullet points. And if you're going to have more bullet points, make sure that your font is large and easily legible. You want to make sure that the slides still have plenty of white space. White space helps break up that text for the users. It makes it easier to read. But if people see just a jumbled block of text, their eyes are going to glaze over and they're never going to take in any information on that slide. Visual images are really powerful. They definitely, one, they grab users' attention, and then they also keep that user engaged and looking at the screen a little bit longer. So I mentioned before, I usually recommend photos or clean graphics. They tend to work best and look a little bit more polished. Unless you are in education or working with younger patients in a medical field or some other field, you want to avoid cartoon-style clip art in any formal business or organization presentation. Those stand out to users and audiences, but for the wrong reasons. I would really recommend you stick to photos, nice clean graphics. There's a lot of free clip art that you can find through Microsoft that are in photos, so that's not something that you have to go out and purchase as well. And there is one brand new feature that is available to Office 365 subscribers only. So if you don't have a corporate or organization branding template and you've just been using the built-in templates within PowerPoint, but you have maybe some company graphics that you want to use, there's a feature called PowerPoint Designer that will make suggestions for you. And again, this is only available if you have Office 365. If you just went out and purchased Office 2016 and installed it on your machine, you're not going to have this option. But I did want to show it for those people who are familiar with Office 365. So I'm going to, again, toggle over to my blank slide. We're just going to delete this. And I'm going to show you really quickly. Let me go back to my Planet presentation. So the PowerPoint Designer is designed to work when you really are starting from scratch. If I come over to my design ribbon, you can see at the very end I have another section for designer and I have design ideas. Now if I click on that, it's going to tell me that it doesn't have any design ideas for this slide for two reasons. One, I have more than one image on the slide. I actually have our planet logo, which is an image, and I have this other circular image. Two, this is already a custom template. Designer is designed to work when you don't know what to do with your PowerPoint. So that's not going to work in this case since we already have a template. Now if I open up a blank presentation and just come in and insert a blank slide, and I insert a picture on it, and I'm going to choose our same picture just so you can kind of see what it looks like. I'm going to actually go ahead and insert another slide and a separate picture with different colors so you can see how those look. So now that I've got a blank slide, I can come back to my Design tab, click Design Ideas. Still says no design ideas. So remember I said there's two reasons. One, you have more than one image. Two, you're already using a custom template. If you're working from scratch, this is the third reason. And that's because they want you to have something with a picture and a title. So I'm going to go in and change my layout to title and content. And now when I go back to design, now you can see I have some ideas generated. So if you just put an image on there, it doesn't know to kick off that designer. Once you come in and add a title and content and an image, or even just a text box, now it can give you some ideas. So without me coming in and struggling to move this image around, maybe I come in here and I'm trying to drag things around, I don't have to do that work. Design Ideas Designer is going to do that for me. If I like this layout, it applies it automatically. You can see I've got other ones where it's put it as a background image and I have my text floating, kind of like the way we recreated our graphic. I've got a little transparent view there. I've got some with the frame, and then I have some other slides as well. So if I come to my second slide, it's going to tell me the same message, so I know right away that I have to come in and add some text into it. I can go back to Design, click Design Ideas, and it's going to give me something very similar. Now you see I have a few different options because it's a different image, and also the colors are slightly different within this image. So it's going to pull from the content and the pictures that you're adding. But this is a really great way that if you're starting from scratch, maybe you're creating your corporate or organization PowerPoint template, add in some images that you use within your organization and use the designer if you're an Office 365 subscriber. If you're working on a presentation template and you're maybe just making slight changes and you're kind of stuck with the page layout and the text that you want to add, that's another great way to come in and get some quick ideas on how you can just get some design out of that. And the great thing is that you don't have to mess with the layout. They're going to do it for you. So that's the one thing that I love. I don't have to spend any more time coming in and switching around graphics until I get it right. The PowerPoint Designer feature really, really gets you started off on the right foot. So a couple of things to consider before we wrap up. Again, if your organization, I can't stress this enough, makes presentations, really want to consider establishing an official PowerPoint template if you don't already have one. And if you do have users who maybe have different versions of that template that they find they're using, have a conversation with them, because you can have more than one theme as the slide master. You saw me insert some graphics. These are ones that we use a lot at Planet. I also have a lot of personal ones that I use with my volunteer work. A graphics library is really helpful to give users more options because they can insert those official graphics and then use the designer feature to come up with some page layouts. And you can also include links in your PowerPoint template to that graphic library or other helpful presentation tools or guides. If there's a website that you have subscribed to that you can go and pull clip art or photos from, include that link in your PowerPoint template. Give it all to your users right within your template. So I mentioned PowerPoint Designer, that's a feature within Office 365 that is available for subscribers. This is one of the things that we always talk about with Office 365. They always have new features added, and they're always making changes to the feature set and the browser portal and the sometimes offline clients because of Office 365. We've seen this over the past few weeks, changes within SharePoint, changes within OneDrive. And here's a change within PowerPoint that you may not have been aware was tied to Office 365. So if you want to have one way to keep your users up to date on the latest changes and you don't want to handle that yourself, we do have Evolve 365. It's a Planet Technology service, which is a subscription-based help desk as a service for Microsoft Office 365 and SharePoint. We have thousands of on-demand self-help videos that your users can go into and search. If they were to go in and search for slide masters on PowerPoint, we'd get a list of several different videos. I believe there's about 50 different videos just on slide master, how to come in, how to make changes, and they can do that from sitting at their desk. They didn't have to call the help desk. They didn't have to go through Google and search through a lot of different sites to try and find the answer that they're looking for. Most of our videos are 20 to 30 seconds long. None of them are more than a few minutes long. So they're getting the answer that they need for the product that they need, and they're getting that information within seconds. We also have additional add-ons for live support, vision, and planning, and every subscription comes with a dedicated Office 365 trusted advisor. If you're interested in taking a look at the Evolve site, I really suggest that you go to our site and request a free trial. You can do that at freetrial.o365support.com. And if you have any questions, you can always email us at info@o365support.com. Again, this is just one small example with PowerPoint, how this little change is a powerful tool, but it's tied to Office 365. So we're right at time, and we're going to go ahead and wrap up today. But I do want to remind everyone that we have our Tips and Tricks series. So next week we'll be wrapping up July with the review of all the SharePoint changes that have happened since the Future SharePoint event announcement. And then we're pushing out our August topics this week. You can register and find out more information on those topics at go-planet.com/events. And I want to give one final reminder. Unity Connect Online was an online conference that happened in June. We have over 60 sessions covering Office 365, SharePoint, and Azure. You can register online and view all of the recordings. And we had several Planet Technologies MVPs speak at that conference. And then, of course, if you ever want to see all of our tips and trick sessions and our other webcasts, you can go to the Planet Technologies YouTube channel, and that's at youtube.com/user/Planet Technologies. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and I hope you found some new information in PowerPoint that you maybe weren't aware of, and I hope you go out and make your own templates and then play around with the design with PowerPoint Designer and see what you can come up with. Thanks again for joining, and we'll see everyone next week.